You guys are really good looking people.
Yeah. Thank you. We think the same thing about you.
You know what? Thank you.
You just had your 50th birthday.
I did.
And I remind you all the time of how like good you look at 50 and like not to slight anyone else, but
I have a big bone to pick with you.
Okay.
How did you make me a grandmother before 50?
How
did that happen, Jay?
I knew.
It was 49.
Yeah.
It was before 50, technically.
I knew you were in the crunch, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to hit you with that so that by the time you're 60 years old, you have a whole like 5th, 6th grader. I didn't want to wait, any longer because, who knows, we're getting old.
I thought about so many things. Then when obviously she told me that you were the dad, I was like, oh shit.
Oh, we in trouble now.
We in trouble now. But I will tell you, I've had people ask me this. They're like, well, how did you feel when you found out that he was the dad? And my initial feeling was I was shocked.
Yeah.
But then I found so much, I found so much peace and I know how you love your kids and I know how you parent your kids. And I said to myself, you know what? He's a great dad. I'm like, I couldn't even see my life without Blaze.
Yeah.
So grateful that you're in our lives because I feel like, you and I whenever I need advice, I'm doing something, the podcast, whatever, it's been good. Like it flows,
When she told me, I was shocked a little bit. Like literally, I was shocked. And we got into this, thing. I love being a dad, right? Like absolutely love being a dad. But I was shocked as shit. Mm. And I don't think it was the reaction that Sha wanted. So she cried a little bit. And it was uncomfortable for her and for me. I didn't want to make her cry. I just was like, I didn't know what to say because I hadn't had a kid in 14 years. So I was like super shocked. She had never had a kid. So of course she was super shocked.
They called you a felon.
Yeah. I mean, true.
Are you a felon?
I am. So I don't feel slighted by someone trying to like throw like my past at me. Yeah, I'm a felon. My mama know I'm a felon. My kids know I'm a felon. My fans know I'm a felon. And that's just what it is. I don't try to duck who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying? Am I in jail? Absolutely not. Made some mistakes in the past. Yes, I have. I was young, a little misguided. My father died a long time ago. Even when he was alive, I didn't really lean on him for advice the way I should have, the way my children can to me. So yeah, I made some mistakes. I'm not like one of those who's going to hide or, mask my face because I have a fear of somebody being judgmental about who I was at one point in time in my life.
How many felonies do you have?
Oh,
Blaze is going to ask one day.
Yeah.
So.
I think like on the record, 2 on record.
That's not bad.
It is bad because we live in a 3-strike state. So it is pretty bad.
Sorry, but I feel like you manifested Blaze.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning another child before I got pregnant.
Yeah, true.
Like you manifested Blaze.
Yeah.
On our first date, you were talking about a Blaze, not him exactly.
Yeah.
But you were talking about a Blaze. So you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think that and
we talked about kids.
Yeah, true. But just so you guys know, because you guys are, beautiful women. You guys are still like women, right? But men, right? Men see a baddie, we think like, I'm gonna get her pregnant. That's what men think when they see a baddie.
You gamed me.
You gamed me.
I'm just asking.
Hey, I'm just saying, when a man really sees a woman that like that he likes and it's a baddie, that be our first thought. Like we be thinking like, damn, like I would have a baby by that. So yeah, I'm manifested. I'm manifested.
Gamed.
Yeah, game manifested.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I've been finding a little bit different is that I'm slower. Like I'm older. I'm like when I had Harlem, I was 23, Justice, I was 27, and in Cali, I was 30. Mm-hmm. So I was a little bit young and faster. And it's like, I'm obviously 46, right? I'm still in, pretty good shape. And when my son gets to, crawling around, like he down there. So I got to get down there with him. And sometimes these knees don't be kneeing, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I think it's a little bit more of a physical challenge. I mean, I'm not on a walker holding a cane, but I'm not, running around as fast as I used to. So that's a challenge to be able to. And you guys know, like I'm out every day doing cardio, and most of the, for the most, I mean, for most of it is really just to keep up with this grown boy.
Yeah. Because co-parenting sometimes, I mean, obviously, especially, it's not easy. Co-parenting with someone's not easy, no matter what
Yeah.
the
Well,
situation is.
we had a few months of like fire with fire.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that you didn't give me enough grace, because I do agree with you. And I think a lot of my anger came from you not delivering what the expectations were.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that there. But I think that I had to learn how to, when I'm done with someone, I'm done with them. And because you share a child, you can't necessarily be done with them.
Yeah.
So I think I had to learn how to wrap my mind around the fact that, like, this is for life. Because otherwise I would have been like, you know, would we be sitting here today if we didn't have Blaze? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can see that.
Because otherwise it would have been like, all right.
Yeah, because when you stop talking to somebody, you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you do share,
I mean, I feel like I would have still been on Drop the Low. So I would have been.
But maybe for different reasons,
Oh, yeah,
right?
right.
Because I also do feel like we were meant to cross paths in whatever capacity we were meant to cross paths in. And we were having this conversation the other day by, like, well, in my opinion, the universe and God doesn't make mistakes. So
Right.
Blaze was supposed to be here. You were supposed to be Blaze's dad. We were chosen to be his parents. So I think that I just had to learn how to grasp with the fact of, like, okay, this is a situation in which you have to stick around. Me.
Right.
That's not my thing. That's not my dating life. There's like one ex that I ended up being friends with like a year or two after we broke up. But so I think that's what I had to.
yeah, I think I will say I'm proud that we're able to do this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Dose of Dora. Thank you so much for tuning in. The game, Evelyn Lozado, I hope that I'm saying her name right, and her daughter. They recently brought the game on to do an interview on their show. One of the first things that I want to say about this interview, like even as her daughter is talking about it, she just looked like she literally wants to cry, like she has tears in her eyes. So she's basically like putting it in a way of, you tricked me, or I didn't know that this was the plan. She goes on to say that she feels like their son Blaze was manifested, that the game talked about this before. And when he explains in his version, he's like basically like, yeah, I guess you could say that, like I kind of did manifest it, but that's just something that all rappers do or all guys do when they see like a real pretty girl like you. They just want to like put a baby in you. That's normal. Like you should have known that. Why would you not have picked up on that? Then you have Evelyn sitting over in the corner, and her vibes is giving more so like, I'm so surprised, and I was just surprised that this happened. Not saying that we you can blame everything that a child does on the mother. I'm sure hopefully she was giving her some game and giving her advice on how to deal with these rich men in these rich circles, but then giving her track history, we do not know what kind of advice that could have been. She goes on to thank the game for like being a part of their family. How she said at first that she couldn't, see it, but now she just could not see him not being in their lives and just not being around, how he was such a good father. She saw how he was such a good father to his other children, and then she was not concerned about it. The first thing is, the father of her daughter's child was friends with Tiffany. She was friends with Tiffany from the show, and she wasn't up in this woman's house directly to see how everything was going from day to day, or see how he was really parenting and the struggles that Tiffany had to deal with. Maybe they spoke, but from what she made it seem in one of her clips, that they weren't really friends like that, not seriously. So how can you go on to say that you see that he's such a good father to his other children, and now you don't have any worry or concern, and you're actually happy that the scenario ended up this way? He goes on to say that he wasn't the same as when he had his first set of children. He was a younger age then, and he was able to move around with them more. And he kind of admits, but not openly admits, like, okay, I'm getting older now. I'm more so in my 40s. So I can like still do things with Blaze, but it is not the same and the same energy that I could with my first set. Then you have Evelyn just sitting here giving him praise and taking in these compliments like he did a heroic thing. Meanwhile, while her daughter is just sitting across, like, so basically, you gamed me. And it's like everybody is making a joke out of it except for her. When she asked him the questions about him being a felon, and she's like, okay, one day Blaze is going to ask this. And it seems like it's more of a surprise to her on the back end. I think that that's definitely something that she should have asked in the dating phase if that was a major concern. If you're concerned that your son's going to ask about it years later, you should have asked that on the dating end. Like, are you a felon, or what do you have going on, or what's this, or what's that? That is more of a reflection of where her mindset was when she was getting into cahoots with this man and dating him. Like, are you asking the right questions, or because he seems like an older guy and he seems like he could be the right pick, and you're a Latina, so he's supposed to come in and treat you better and give you a better version of himself than he's given the black women that he's dated before, or any of the women that he's dated before. Sometimes I think when you have that exotic prize mentality, I think every woman should celebrate herself. Every woman should love herself. But whether you're exotic or not, or from another culture, but when you come in with that prize mentality, like, I'm going to be better than the last woman, or she just wasn't like me and I'm going to be the exception, that's where you make a mistake. You have to look at things and be like, what is really his track record? How did he treat the women before him? What don't look at it like I'm better than them and everything's going to turn out better for me. Now, in some cases, you do have situations where people do need time to mature. They need time to grow up. And you can have two different people. They're just a better match for each other. But in this case, the game definitely has a history. And he wasn't going to stop or change that here for her, as we see. He gives Evelyn a compliment saying, how beautiful that they are and how he thinks that they're beautiful women. It's very sweet, but it's like, okay, can you compliment her, give her her own set of compliments without having to bring Evelyn in? And Evelyn is just over there, kiki, hee hee, kiki, and just happy to accept the comments. Meanwhile, what about how your daughter is feeling and the perception of what she's saying is happening to her? I feel like there's no emotional intelligence on Evelyn's part. Like, she's just not picking up on it at all. She just seems more so thrilled to have him on the show, just to have this moment and to have him as part of her family. And she's stating how she's a young grandmother. And I mean, at this point, being a grandmother at 50 is not necessarily a thing of I'm a young grandmother. You're just a grandmother at this point. When she met Game, she didn't have any kids, and she could have went a totally different route. So it could have been a thing of, okay, I could find me a guy who doesn't have kids instead of someone like the Game who has all of this stuff on his record. She was young at the time. He just has like a whole past, and maybe it would have been great for her to find someone who had a fresh, just a fresh start and a fresh track, so that she wouldn't have to take on these additional problems and this additional baggage. And now I think that she's in the situation and she's really realizing what she's walked into, and having to co-parent with this person just for years to come. It can really be devastating almost. It's definitely a wake-up call for her, I'm sure. Now, as a mother, yes, you love your children. Once they're here, they're here. And I don't think it would be a thing of her saying that she necessarily regrets her son, but regretting the process in which it happened, like maybe vetting him more. I'm sure that she probably would have done that more, looking on the back end. Like, maybe I really should have taken time to vet this man. Could Evelyn have given her some better advice, it seems? Yeah. Evelyn definitely could have given her some advice based on her experiences, based on her insight. Maybe she did, but it just didn't turn out any better for her daughter than what it's turned out for Evelyn. I think as Evelyn and her daughter has gotten into this situation, it's more so a thing of embarrassment. And it's like, okay, well, we're in this situation now. And this is pretty much going to be the situation for the next, 18 years, because she has to co-parent with this man. And he just have a sense of arrogancy to him. Like, well, this is pretty much what you signed up for. You kind of should have known. That's what she's going to have to deal with. And she'll also have to put her feelings aside to make sure that she's investing into that child, that she is not giving him angry vibes. And that can be a lot to really separate yourself from the situation, from what the father put her through. And part of it is her responsibility because she also took this on. The game was married to Tiffany. She didn't have to go with this man. She didn't have to date this man. She had plenty of options. She could have started with someone who didn't have children, settled down with someone who didn't have a lot of baggage. She could have started a fresh marriage with someone. Is her first child, is their first child together, and everything's new. They're learning together, but now she does have to co-parent with the game. It's good to see that they can sit down and have a conversation. We don't know how things go behind scenes, but this is just kind of what it sums up to. It just doesn't seem like Evelyn really gave her the best advice as a mother. It doesn't seem like she is aware of what her daughter is experiencing. Even in this interview, she's just like sitting back like, yeah. And it's just like, let's have a little bit more emotional awareness here, Evelyn. But hey, they sat down, they did the interview. That pretty much sums it up. I would like to know what you guys think about this video. Do you think that Evelyn was coming from a place of understanding when it came to her daughter? Do you think that she was just overly enamored by the fact that he was even on the show, that she was so happy that he was there, and she was really seeing Shanice or picking up Shanice's vibe? Like, what do you guys think? I really want to know. Please put it down below. I thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I do see that the channel is growing. I love you guys so much. And until next time.